of independence by joining? Because you need to now go back and look at, okay, how did this idea come about, independence by joining? Are there prior examples that the UN already implemented through this same experiment?
No.
And if they did that, were there a union treaty? Because the confusion is about there is no marriage certificate and all of that. Is that really necessary? So that our people need to have this clearly understood.
Yeah.
That, okay, somebody got married, there's no paper. Is that the federal constitution that became the default? The marriage certificate.
Marriage certificate.
Yes.
The Federal Republic of Cameroon Constitution of 1st October 1961.
So that's what holds us together.
Yes.
Then that completely wipes out the argument about decolonization. It means that decolonization was complete.
The decolonization was complete. Decolonization means that the colonial authority left. The British left. They left.
Why don't forget that there are, sorry. Don't forget that it's not only La République and Southern Cameroons who are concerned in this matter. What has happened, or what is the status of the trusteeship agreement between the United Nations and the United Kingdom for the administration of British Cameroons today? What is the status?
Gone.
The agreement is gone. So
Yeah.
why do you think that the United Nations and the United Kingdom ended the trusteeship agreement? It was because they took cognizance for them the validity of British Southern Cameroons acceding to independence by joining La République. So that's not something that we can go saying, oh, it was incomplete, you expect the UN and the UK to come back into this equation.
The argument is not that, I mean, we don't make a case, not that the British messed us up. But the argument is not that decolonization was incomplete. The argument is that they messed us up, which they did. You see? The decolonization, which they did, but it was not without blemish. So that's the argument. Not that they did, because if you say it's not incomplete, that if the British still have a foothold in the governance of the Southern Cameroons, no, they don't have. They've since left. And this is the point they keep on making each time you write to them. So wash your hands since 1st October 1961, have nothing to do anymore. Whatever is happening there, you fight about it. We are no longer involved. So but the further argument we'll make is that you led us into a situation we found here.
Have there been other prior examples of independence by joining?
Not in the sense that of this Southern Cameroons, French Cameroons thing. But we have several examples. I mean, I think there was a total of about 11 trust territories within the United Nations trusteeship system. There were 11 territories. Now, at the last count, at least 7 of those attained independence by joining other territories, either after they got their own independence and subsequently, by subsequent negotiation, they joined another territory, as in the case of Zanzibar. Zanzibar and Tanganyika to form Tanzania. Zanzibar used to be a trust territory like us. British Togoland, which was a territory like us, is an integral part of Ghana today because they also had a plebiscite.
Is that Upper Volta? Is that the
whether it's Volta State or what? But they had a similar plebiscite, and British Togoland opted to join Ghana, and they have been absorbed into Ghana. Papua and New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea.
There are several examples of trust territories that joined other territories as part of the decolonization process.
So my country people them, when I don't listen to Professor Carlson Anyangwe and Dr. Simon Munzu, two people the way they will be present in the 1990s during the tripartite talks and of course the constitutional talks, and before they amend the constitution, they will be apart. So they don't explain a phone. Say decolonization is complete. And the marriage certificate way some Anglophones, separatists, they always ask for. Say, if we be joined, who's the marriage certificate day? The marriage certificate, now 2 documents. One of them, now the federal constitution, and the other one, now the exchange of notes where the British, they be signed them with the Cameroon government under President Amadou Ahidjo for hand over the sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons to President Amadou Ahidjo. And also, when I don't hear Dr. Simon Munzu, he explain them, say, we get other examples them around the world of how countries, they began independence by joining. A typical example, now the former German Togoland, where it be divided into the British Togoland and the French Togoland. When the Gold Coast, Ghana, it began independence in 1957, they be give a plebiscite for British Togoland. If they want for join Ghana, gain independence together, they vote for join and they be join Ghana. That's just one example of how a country it began independence by joining. So what will be happen for former British Southern Cameroons and Northern Cameroons, it not be unique. There are other examples around the world. If you just Google them, if you just try to find out, you go see the examples the day for day. So you see the reality now, say many Cameroonians, Anglophones, they be confused about their history, especially the so-called separatists. If you ask the separatists, let me explain for you their grievances, they no go fit. If you get about 5 or 6 separatists, you ask them that question, about 4 or 5 answers them, they go come out because they don't know exactly what way they talk about. The so-called Ambazonians, they get this arguments the way they move their goalpost. They shift the goalpost every single time when you corner them. They move to a different argument because the argument it ever hold water. They go start by talking, say, oh, we did not join. No marriage certificate, no day. So we were never one. We no be joined. So we are not separatists. We are not seceding because we no be ever joined. But then you ask them, say, on the 1st of October 1961, John Go-Foncha will be taking position as the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Cameroon as who? If we not be joined, how can you be Vice President of a country that you did not join? So when you defeat the argument, they go move on to 1966. They say, okay, 1966, Ahidjo be fool our leaders them, they be manipulate them, so that made our leaders, they dissolve their political party for form one party inside Cameroon. And then you ask them, say, how will it be possible for President Amadou Ahidjo for fool and manipulate the leaders and for West Cameroon if the leaders and for West Cameroon themselves they don't be foolish? How you go fool people the way they not be foolish? Remember, I said President Amadou Ahidjo, it be being the younger one and less experienced compared to ST Muna, John Go-Foncha, EML, Ndele, all these 3 people then for West Cameroon, they will be older than President Amadou Ahidjo and they will get more political experience than President Amadou Ahidjo. But you want we for believe, say for 1966, President Amadou Ahidjo, this young man, he be fool all these experienced and older people them. May they dissolve their political parties, can't join the one political party for Cameroon. When you defeat their argument for that one, they move on to 1972. They say, oh, but the referendum, it will be against the federal constitution. The referendum. And then you ask them, say, you don't even read the federal constitution because go read the Article 47 where you the quote them. It talk for day. The head of state, president of the republic, he get the right for call the referendum and he used now a constitutional right. And besides, some law there for this world where the same people, the way they make the law, they not repeal the same law. The authority where it make any law, the same authority, if it repeal that same law. So the people, the sovereign people of Cameroon, now them write the federal constitution. And the sovereign people of Cameroon, they get the authority for amend that same constitution. No law, no the way you feel write them, then you talk, say no man no fit change them. Because the people, the way they write that law in the first place, they get the authority for write the law, they get the authority for change that same law. And President Amadou Ahidjo was just, operating within his legal right for call a referendum. And when you talk so, you defeat the argument, they move on to, 1972, the ballot paper began a we and yes, which is just a blatant lie. And then you disprove them for them saying a lie. They go move on now to the next point. They say, 1984, President Paul Biya, he be changed the name for the country by decree. But that's just another lie because it be been by parliamentary act where the law of the land, the constitution was changed. It was a constitutional amendment. Whether you like them or not, that's how you change the name of a country, by rewriting the constitution. And that's what was done. It was done legally. And at that time for 1984, Anglophone elected members in the National Assembly voted for change the name of the republic. When we elect people, then send them for represent we, whatever decisions where they take them for Yaoundé, they take them on our behalf. They take them on the behalf of the sovereign people, the way they elect them, send them for the National Assembly for go represent we. Now, why that way they call that house? Say the House of Representatives, because they represent we. And if they reach for the whatever decisions where they take them on our behalf, and it be binding to us. So when you defeat the argument for that one, the next time they go talk and say, in 1984, when President Paul Biya changed the law, na ye be secede from the union. No be we will not be separatists, we will not be secessionists. Na Paul Biya be secede from 1984. And then you ask them, say, no be when our first argument, it be na say, will not be joined, will not be one country, no marriage certificate, no day. But now for 1984, you want to make the argument, say, na President Paul Biya secede. How now you the claims that President Paul Biya secede from country where it not be ever be together? How is that possible? So their argument in no hold. Now why that way they are always shifting positions. When you catch them for one corner, they shift to the next corner. You catch them for that corner, they shift to the next corner. And then when you finally defeat all the arguments, then the Josh Nation will go talk say the Gambia, Banjul ruling. They just talk noise. That same Banjul ruling where they talk about it being a court of human rights. It not get nothing to do with sovereignty. They need to adjudicate sovereignty issues. And then when you tell them about the Bakassi Peninsula and other things and way it show clearly, say they be in the wrong, they just start throw empty words, started throw random noise. And now the argument that way Anglophones they get them, the so-called separatists them. They don't get no argument. And now why that way it be very important for we for continue for to tell the history and the truth about what will be transpired from 1960s to the 70s, 80s up to today with Ambazonia terrorism. We get to stay steadfast on the truth. The reality, I say, on the 11th of February 1961, our parents voted to join the Republic of Cameroon. And when you tell them this one, the argument would be na say, but the British, they don't get no right for hold a referendum in the first place. But guess what? It happened. And now why the way when I hear Professor Anyangwe, it make that point as well.
The argument is not that, I mean, we don't make a case, not that the British messed us up. But the argument is not that decolonization was incomplete. The argument is that they messed us up, which they did. You see, the decolonization, which they did, but it was not without blemish. So that's the argument. Not that because if you say it's not incomplete, that if the British still have a foothold in the governance of the Southern Cameroons, no, they don't have.
Professor Anyangwe, it talks say, the argument is not that decolonization is incomplete. Their argument is that the British, the United Nations messed us up. But then again, you go ask a person like Professor Anyangwe, say, what is the legal recourse? How can you correct the mess up that the British and the United Nations did in 1960 or 1961? How do you correct it? The reality, there is none. And they know it. They know very well, say there is no recourse, legally or otherwise. You know if it sue the United Nations, for which court? You know if it sue the British government. As a matter of fact, if you go read the actual trusteeship agreement where the United Kingdom, it be get them with the United Nations, it spell them out. They be get the discretion for administer that territory as they see fit. And they go give annual reports to the United Nations and they fulfill that task. And the trusteeship agreement has been terminated. They no longer get anything for do with the former British Southern Cameroons or the former British Northern Cameroons. They don't give independence to those territories them or whatever you want to call them by attaching them to Nigeria and attaching the other part to Cameroon as stipulated in Resolution 1608. So the British, they don't do their job, they don't wash their hand, they don't go them. Whatever happens after that is your business. And when you tell them this one, they vex because they don't get answers, because the truth is bitter. But my country people, them, it must be spoken. So make we continue for the talk the truth. Yes, we voted to join the Republic of Cameroon. Yes, we joined on the 1st of October 1961. Yes, the referendum was legal. Yes, we are part of Cameroon. And now, if we don't like the situation for Cameroon, just like many Cameroonians, the many Anglophones, they will tell you about the Anglophone problem, the Anglophone problem. But if you put 10 Anglophones themselves, maybe they explain for you the Anglophone problem, you will get about 7 or 8 different explanations because they are confused. Because you could hear people, they started explaining about Cameroonian problems, we're not in an Anglophone problem. They will start to tell you things in a way that they happen for Kustere. So they go start to explain things the way that they happen all over the territory of Cameroon, not just the Anglophone zone, not just the Anglophone suffer from those things. For example, economic stagnation, bad roads, bad governance, or all of those things, lack of opportunities, all of those things, those are Cameroon problems, not Anglophone problems. So you see, I'm saying the Anglophones are confused about addressing their own problem. People, the way they claim that they get an Anglophone problem, cannot articulate the Anglophone problem. So when they go start talking about language, say, oh, na language, oh, gendarme talk for me for French. Okay. So if they move that gendarme will talk for French, put another francophone man will talk for English, is your problem solved? So you see, I'm saying the Anglophones themselves, they be confused about the history of their own country and about the reality where they live in. The one the way they claim that they get Anglophone problem cannot explain the Anglophone problem. The ones the way they call themselves Ambazonians, when they're the secessionist terrorists, they know if you explain where they want to achieve them. They know if you explain the source and the origin of their grievance. And when they go round and round, they can't land on the truth and the reality, say, they be discontent, not with the Cameroon government, but with the Anglophone leaders of the 60s and the British and the United Nations. The reality becomes very clear for them. There is no recourse. There is no way where you fit get justice from the United Nations, because if you sue United Nations for court, and you go sue Britain for which court? Even Cameroon government, you go sue them for which court? For Banjul, Human Rights Court. The Human Rights Court for Banjul will tell them, so may they go form political party for Cameroon if they want for challenge when they rule, when they take power for Cameroon. Then if it change the laws of Cameroon for favor them. That's what the Banjul Declaration, or whatever they call them, the ruling from the Banjul Human Rights Court, that's what they were told. They come now, kind of cling up, say the Banjul Court, be say we are a people. Of course we are a people. We from Momo are a people. We speak a specific language. We eat a specific type of food. We live in a specific kind of way. The way we marry, the way we bury our dead, the way we celebrate weddings, and all of those things are unique to the Momo people. We are a people. Does that mean we are sovereign people? No, we are not sovereign. So they will use all kind of words then for bamboozle una and for lie about the truth and the reality. But if una want for debate or for challenge or for even get a discussion with all these kind of people, the way they lie about the history, stay with the facts and the reality. Ask them these basic questions. Question number 1, is the former British Southern Cameroon still a trust territory? Has the trusteeship agreement been terminated or not? If you ask them that basic question, you go see them, they go run to go reach for Timbuk to come back. They go run to go reach from A to Z, come back. They no go answer that question. Simple question. Has the trusteeship agreement been terminated or not? If they talk say don't be terminated, then ask them how was it terminated. They no go ever answer you that question, because it was terminated by the exchange of notes where the British government transferred sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons to President Amadou Ahidjo. That is a fact where they no one for reckon with. My country people them.
Lesson number 1, my country people, Dr. Weti. Listen, whether or not you accept, my country people is a force to reckon with. Me, I agree. He's an enemy that is strong. So, Ambazonians will thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.